Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a really beautiful start to your day. And I'm coming on this morning to do a little bit of a collective check-in here on YouTube. But this morning, when I was meditating and journaling prior to starting this reading video, I got a message coming through really strongly. And so I'm going to use this message as a starting point for today's reading. I don't know where we're going to go from there, so it's possible that we will kind of evolve the reading as we go along, but there is a specific person's energy trying to come through really strongly, and this is a person that you activated, but I'm also getting it wasn't one-sided. There was some kind of mutual activation between you and this person. For some reason, I'm seeing stars and I'm hearing the word void. And my guides are saying you met in the void. You met in the space between timelines. And also that you come from very different worlds. So the sense that I'm getting is that you and this person typically exist in very different worlds and very different timelines. And I'm also hearing you could only communicate or connect in that void. So I know that this sounds really strange, but what I'm getting is that the two of you met in this place between timelines outside of your norm, outside of your usual worlds. Maybe for some of you, this was literal. So there could have been a physical location that you met at where it was kind of out of the ordinary for you and this person to both be there. I also am picking up something about being like split off from your usual social group or community. I don't know how that relates, but it almost feels as though you and this person met when you both were a bit split off from your typical social group or the people that you usually see or interact with, the places you usually go. And you met in this void, we'll call it, for lack of better terminology, that in some ways felt very disorienting and very empty, but was also extremely potent. And in that void, you both activated each other. And I'm actually hearing that if you could see the trajectory that you sent each other on, you would be shocked, because the kind of feeling I'm getting or the visual I'm seeing here is when a road splits off and at first it looks like it's barely kind of splitting off onto a different path. But if you were to follow it way down the highway, you would see miles out that it is miles and miles and miles, maybe even thousands of miles different from that split off point and from that other divergent road. And so when it comes to you and this person, on the surface, initially, it looked like you changed each other ever so slightly. And yet that smallest divergence in the road is going to entirely shift the timeline for both of you and the overall trajectory of your lives by the spiritual equivalent of thousands of miles, just like those divergent roads in the metaphor. And I'm actually getting that you are noticing this already because you're very intuitive. And so you are noticing that since this person, I want to say not only entered, but left your life, because something about this activation felt really fast hitting. It felt hard hitting and fast hitting. Like the activation happened. It was really intense. You processed it all at once, which is something else I journaled about that was coming through really strongly, the way in which you and this person both processed this meeting differently. So we'll get into that, but you processed all of that activation at once. And by the way, I feel like that was extremely difficult for you. I feel that it felt like being hit by a ton of bricks or something, because this person, they altered you on this soul, like alchemical kind of level that was hard to put into words, that didn't make any sense from a logical, conscious perspective, and that people around you most likely truly could not understand. I'm hearing people around you saying, why are you so affected by this? Or why are you so affected by this person? But it's because you're very intuitive, and it's because you could sense that even though it looked like that smallest divergence on your pathway, ooh, I'm hearing the word detour. We'll get back to that. Maybe I'll write that down really quick. But that smallest divergence on your pathway, or what looked to be small physically, actually had set you on a timeline that ultimately would look entirely different, that would ultimately change the entire track of your life. And I feel like you knew that on some level, especially being the one in this situation who was more connected consciously to their own intuition. But while you processed all of that at once, and I'm seeing that this person may have even brought up emotions within you that seemed illogical, that felt as though they didn't match what was happening in the physical. And this most likely made you feel a bit delusional. You may have felt like you were going crazy. I got the number 717 for someone, but most likely you were very confused because this person caused you to feel what can only really be described as like both soul ecstasy and soul grief. And I feel this happened in succession very quickly. Maybe you even had multiple waves of this soul ecstasy and then this soul grief. And that grief, I'm hearing the ecstasy came from knowing I found you. And the grief came from knowing I have to let you go again. Like those are the feelings that I'm getting here, because I do feel that in the physical, you had to let this person vanish, or you had to let them walk away, or you had to walk away from them. And I'm getting something about you respecting their path, you respecting them needing time to process what took place between the two of you, but this being very difficult because you processed it very differently. You processed it all nearly instantaneously, and that's why it surfaced so many emotions within you, because that was your soul processing. I'm hearing lifetimes. I feel you and this person have shared lifetimes together. For some reason, I'm hearing something like, we shouldn't have been here, or somewhere we shouldn't have been. So maybe there was an element of morality here where I'm just picking up on some element of guilt, possibly on this person's side, where they felt like you put them, or the connection between you put them in a position where they were questioning their own morality, or feeling like they ended up somewhere they shouldn't have been. I'm hearing emotionally, like you took this person emotionally somewhere they said they'd never go, or where they almost felt like they were trespassing on sacred ground, like they didn't quite belong in your world. And they knew that on some level. They felt like there was something too sacred or too pure or too holy about you or your space or your energy. And so by feeling what they were feeling for you, they almost felt as though they were trespassing or trampling on something that was very sacred. But also, for some of them, this could have literally been a question of morality, because I'm picking up that, and another message that I channeled through earlier is that this person currently has taken the activation that you sparked within them, and it's almost like they're trying to displace it on a karmic partner or karmic person in their life. Now, this won't be the case for everyone. I feel I'm speaking to a very specific collective here. So you can take that in a more abstract sense if this isn't relating to a karmic relationship or a karmic person in their life. But for the very specific group of souls I'm speaking to here, you've been aware that this person is either in a karmic relationship or connection or something of that nature. And logically, this person makes sense to them, or this connection makes sense to them. And I'm hearing that meeting you marked the end of the karmic contract, but that they've still been playing it out because logically, their mind is telling them not to let it go. Their mind is telling them that it doesn't make sense to walk away from this person and step into the unknown. Because what this connection with you is offering them is not safety for the mind. It's not stability in the physical sense. What pursuing you would mean for them is embracing the unknown and stepping into it wholeheartedly. And I use that word wholeheartedly very intentionally because this actually is where their heart is leading them. Their heart has been pulling them towards you. It's just that it makes no logical sense to them. And this is someone who is much more in their logic at this time. So the sense that I'm getting is that when they met you, you marked the end of that karmic contract in a spiritual sense. And this is part of what I'm talking about when I say that the two of you caused each other's pathways to shift so dramatically that at first it would look subtle, even like something you could ignore. But over time, because of meeting each other, you would end up thousands of miles away from where you would have been otherwise. And I want to go into a bit what this means for the both of you. So what I'm getting for this person is that when they met you, the karmic contract that they had with this person or partner actually ended. You marked the end of that karmic contract spiritually. So the pull to this person that they had been feeling actually evaporated when they met you. And ever since the two of you connected, they've been trying to reinvigorate that connection. They've been trying to take all of the intensity, all of the love that doesn't make sense to them that they were feeling towards you naturally. And they've been trying to artificially somehow diffuse that feeling by displacing it onto this person, but it never quite fits emotionally, even though they're trying to make it fit logically. They can't understand why ever since they met you, they haven't been able to fully, not even fully, but even to the smallest degree, they've not been able to just go back and re-enter their old world. Because again, you guys met in this void between your worlds, but you both left changed. That's the feeling I'm getting. Like the void you entered into together changed the both of you forever. So on this person's end, what I'm getting is that because meeting you, well, I'm actually hearing meeting you not only ended the karmic contract that they had with this partner, which, by the way, on a deeper level, their soul called this in because their soul wanted to expand into something more. And I'm getting that you put a face and a name and an embodiment to this vague sense of emptiness and numbness that they'd been feeling with this karmic partner for quite some time. but physically they were not ready to let go of that connection. And so they've been trying to re-enter it and trying to diffuse the energy that they're still feeling towards you. I'm hearing they haven't cut the line spiritually with you, even though they walked away from you or went quiet on you physically. And that's why you've most likely still been feeling this as well. Although I get that you've done certain things to do your best to transmute this energy, but it may still come to you in waves, even in spite of all of that processing you've done on your end, in spite of the transmutation you've done on your end. If you're still feeling this person from time to time, it's because they actually haven't cut the line. They've just been trying to diffuse some of that energy. And so to put this in real terms, kind of like the sense I get is when they start feeling this intense attraction towards you or love towards you, they may like force themselves to kind of try to funnel that energy into the person that they're with, or kind of like redirect that energy into this karmic relationship. But they can feel the emptiness beneath all of that. They can feel that something about it seems to be forced. And I'm also getting that that person has noticed the difference. They've noticed the change in them, even if they can't name it, even if they don't really fully understand it. And so on your end, because I said, well, first of all, let's finish the loop on this person, because like I said, the shift was subtle at first. The karmic contract you ended just by entering this person's life that they had with this other partner or this other person. What I'm getting is that they didn't even realize that karmic contract had ended in the moment that it happened. It happened, it's almost like I see someone kind of like sensing something or thinking they hear something like, oh, did you hear that? But then writing it off as, okay, that must have been nothing. That was the way that they kind of sensed the breaking of this karmic contract. They thought maybe it was nothing, or they wrote it off as just some small temporary shift. But it was actually the moment that their path changed forever. They just didn't know it yet. It was the moment they got sent off onto an entirely different life trajectory. But I am hearing that it could take a great deal of time before you see physically, fully how you've changed this person. What I am getting very strongly is that in the long term, I really feel they are not going to be able to stay with this karmic partner or person, because in the long term, this connection and the pull that they felt to that person has already been like disconnected. It's already been shut off spiritually. So the only way they could continue in that connection for years or decades past this point is if they were willing to continuously lie to themselves and try to force this connection into being over and over again. And I feel that very likely over the course of time, something here is going to unravel. In fact, my guides are saying it already is unraveling behind the scenes, even though they aren't making that public or showing that visibly, because this karmic partner or person has sensed the change within them, a change that they've tried to undo, but they haven't been able to, because they've literally been transformed through meeting you and through interacting with you. Something was exchanged between you that is still affecting the both of you. A kind of energy exchange has taken place here. And what I'm getting on your side of things is you were equally activated by this person, and it equally changed the course of your life, but in a very different way. So I'm getting that this person inspired a part of you that was dormant, and so dormant that you may have not even been aware that this part of you still existed. But now that this dormant part of you has been awakened, you can't shut it down again, and you're not meant to, because the soul contract between you and this person was such that you were meant to enter each other's lives and activate each other in this way and shift each other's timelines in such a way that neither of your lives would ever be the same, but ultimately for the better, ultimately to shift you onto a more authentic timeline. And so I feel that for you, this person awoke some dormant part of yourself. And of course, this will look different from person to person. So for some of you, this may be that they awoke, I'm hearing a part of yourself that just came alive in their presence, maybe a part of you that was capable of feeling such ecstasy or exhilaration or excitement, or just feeling fully alive in your body and present in the moment. For others of you, this could have been a part of you that, I'm just hearing the word awake, like part of you that had been dormant woke up around this person and can't be put back to sleep again. For some of you, this may have been somehow this person, I'm hearing really they reminded you of something that you had forgotten about yourself, about the way that you have the capacity to create or to love or to feel or to dream. There's something about how this person reminded you that you're able to feel things that you forgot that you could feel in this way, or that you're able to feel a level of attraction or love towards another person that you forgot that you could feel, or that you're able to create in a kind of way that you hadn't really been actively aware of within yourself, or at least not for a really long time. And now that this part of you is awake and aware, it can't be put back to sleep. And that part of you that was dormant, that this person woke up within you, has now been leading your life in a different kind of way. That aliveness, that creativity, that vision, that ecstasy, whatever this is for you, I'm getting that it's become a non-negotiable for you, because now you know you're capable of feeling that much, or having that kind of a dream for yourself, or creating in that way. And you're now no longer able to compromise on that feeling. I'm hearing like if this is romantic, this person may have shown you, I'm hearing you're not broken. Because for some of you, you may have believed that a part of you that had that ability to love or to feel that level of attraction was somehow broken or misguided, that you weren't able to feel in that way anymore. But this person reminded you that that part of you isn't broken. It just hasn't been activated by the right kind of frequency, or the right kind of person or situation or circumstances. Yeah, I just keep hearing whatever they woke up within you is now this non-negotiable part of your life, or of what you expect out of a relationship. Or just, again, this doesn't even have to be something romantic that they woke up within you. It could be that they inspired you in such a way that you are creating your life in a different direction, or pursuing something new that in spiritual terms isn't really new. It's always been this part of you that was just lying dormant in some way. I'm hearing you can express as all of you. Somehow I feel that this person reminded you that you can love with your whole heart, that you can express as all of you, that you can exist as every aspect of your being, that you don't have to pick and choose parts of yourself to share with the world, or to create with, or to love with, but that you can be loved and seen and recognized for every aspect of your multidimensional nature. And I don't know what it was about this person or situation, but I really feel somehow, some way they reminded you of that truth. But it's been really heartbreaking, doesn't even touch it. There's been this soul grief that you've been feeling since the disconnect with this person, especially in the immediate aftermath. But I'm hearing that even now, sometimes you feel these lingering waves of grief around the way that this person either went cold on you, went silent, or disconnected from you. But I'm hearing on their end, they felt that they had no choice because they were not ready to let go of the karmic person or relationship. And the thing is, they knew that if they kept some level of communication or interaction with you or kept you in their life, there is no way that they would even have a chance of fitting themselves back into their old world, that world that brought them stability, that world that brought them safety, that world that logically makes so much sense to them. And actually, what I'm getting is if what they felt towards you had only been on the surface, if it had only been a light attraction or something fleeting, they actually would have been able to keep you in their life in a stronger form physically. And for a while, I feel when the two of you were connecting in that void space, they tried to tell themselves that maybe they could keep you in their life as like a friend, or that they could maintain a level of connection or interaction with you. But in the end, they were aware that you had shifted something within them. I'm hearing it shifted into love without them even like expressing the most basic feelings for you. I feel like almost everything about this bond went entirely unspoken. But I'm hearing that there was a moment that everything changed. And for some reason, I'm getting the word touch. So this may have been like a small touch, like a touch of your hands or your arms or like something like that, something very subtle. And I'm getting just that single small touch generated this huge electromagnetic current of energy between the two of you. And it literally shocked them spiritually, emotionally, physically, with how reactive they felt towards that one small touch. I'm also hearing something about like lips or lipstick. I'm seeing like pink or red lipstick here. And what I'm getting is after that touch, after that moment, now maybe it wasn't a literal touch, but a way that your heart touched them or your soul touched them, it affected them so deeply that they knew they could not re-enter their old world and keep you in their life in any form at the same time. And so I feel like this person, when they exited that void space, because I feel that you were both ejected out of that void and back into your worlds, back into your separate worlds. And yet I'm hearing something about that void that you met within felt more real and more alive than anything either of you had ever experienced in your waking typical lives. And now going back to the way things were before almost feels mundane. It feels monotonous. It feels like going back to a world where everything is in black and white when you've just seen color for the first time. That's the total shift that the both of you caused within the other. Because really what I'm getting is that connecting with you, it was like you opened this person's mind to perceiving in a different dimension. And to some extent, I feel like you did that same thing for them. It really was like seeing color in a world that had previously only been in black and white. And just like in that example, you could happily live in that black and white world, just assuming that's the way things are, not even knowing that colors exist. And I feel like that's how this person was living, like kind of having this almost like a soul ache on an unconscious level, that slight feeling of emptiness or numbness beneath the surface, but being able to write it off because they'd never seen color before. But then after meeting you, how can they go back to monotony and to this like colorless life and tell themselves that the emptiness they're feeling has no meaning? Because now they know that what they're longing for is that vibrancy and that different level of perspective that you brought to their life. So they're missing you in the deepest way that one soul can miss another, in the way that you would miss seeing color when you re-enter a world of black and white. And yet they know that they can't make the smallest move towards you without falling all the way back into this connection that they were feeling. It's almost like they perceive you as having this sort of magnetic force field around yourself. And just like gravity will pull things to the earth, they know that if they get even in just a slight vicinity of your orbit again, they are going to get pulled all the way back in. And that's why this person has been distant. And yet at the same time, you've been feeling them so strongly. So I don't know who this reading is for exactly, but if it's for you, I hope that it provided some kind of clarity or guidance for you. I will be continuing this on to an extended version of the reading. So if you do feel guided to join me in that next reading, then I will leave a link to it underneath this video. So that will be in the pinned comment and also in the description box. But if for whatever reason you are choosing to just leave this reading here, then trust that you received whatever you needed to receive from it, whatever was meant for you. And I'm sure that this won't be the last time that we're hearing from this person or this thread of energy, because this definitely feels like one of those threads that has been lingering in our kind of collective energy field for certain groups for a while. I know that this particular video has just kind of turned out to be hyper specific, and usually these Monday, Wednesday, Friday readings are a bit more general, but this just really felt like a person who wanted to come through. And I actually feel that their silence or their distance in the physical world is actually part of why their soul and their energy is coming through so persistently and so strongly in this reading, and probably in future readings to come. So I'm going to go ahead and close things out here. I will say, especially if you are leaving the reading here and you want a little more channeled energy on this, I really feel like this specific thread of energy does pretty directly tie into 2 channeled songs that I've created. So these are actually my first 2 channeled songs that are kind of like sister songs, because I feel they both kind of tie into different angles of this thread of energy. So if this is for you, then one of those songs may have some kind of lyrical channeled message for you. And the name of those songs are The Light in Your Room and Go On to New York. And you can stream them on pretty much any streaming platform that you would usually listen to music on. But the best place to follow my music, if you would like to follow me, is on Spotify, because that's where my music tends to drop first when I release it. It's also where you can actually read the lyrics verbatim. And I really feel like if you're guided to it, there may be something specific in some of those lyrics for you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and leave things here and head over to the extended. But I hope you all have a really wonderful rest of your day. If anything here connected, I would love to hear from you in the comments if there's something that you'd like to share with our community. But otherwise, I am looking forward to talking to you again in the next video.